Hey guys, I am doing the naming compounds, and today we're looking at covalent compounds. So we're not going to be doing ions. Now we're shifting gears, so you do not need this. Okay, we're not using this for covalent compounds. Remember, there's two different types of compounds that we're talking about. We're talking about the ionic and covalent. So covalent is going to be a metal and, ions are a metal and a nonmetal, and covalent compounds are two nonmetals. So I'm going through our packet that we had before. You should dig that out somewhere, and we're going to go to page 8. And at the bottom of page 8, don't worry about any of this, okay? But at the bottom of page 8, if I can figure out how to do that, we're looking at the prefixes we're going to use for naming covalent or molecular compounds, okay? Remember, these are not ions, so they don't have any charges. These are just regular old compounds. So when we are looking at the names of a compound, we're going to look at the how many atoms of each there are in there, and then we're going to use these prefixes to name them. Okay, and I'm going to show you some examples. On here, now let's put that away for just a second. On here, we are talking about, okay, yeah, so we're going to look at this. These are the, it says it right here, you have the first element, the prefix plus the element name. The second element is the Greek prefix plus the element name and IDE. Okay, so in this case, the example is diphosphorus pentoxide. The way you know which prefix to use is by these numbers right here. Okay, so all the numbers are going to be subscripts. There's going to be no numbers up in the air right now. Okay, so for covalent compounds, we're only using these prefixes. So this is P2O5, P is phosphorus. We have two of them, so it's diphosphorus. We have 5 oxygen, so it's pentaoxide, and then the IDE is added. Okay, now the other example I've got here is sulfur hexafluoride. Okay, so you have S for sulfur, there's only one because there's no number, so there's no prefix in front of it. Then you have hexafluoride, hexa means 6. So if you look at the chart right here, this is what you're going to be using to figure out what prefix to put in front. Okay, so 6 is hexa, and that's what we just did. All right, so let's do some examples. And we're going to use our periodic table to figure out what the elements are. Okay, so remember, these are all going to be on the right-hand side of the periodic table. Sorry, you can't see that, because they're both nonmetals. Okay, so the first one is S, is sulfur, and it's right here on the periodic table. And so I can write sulfur. Okay, and then we have oxygen, and there's 3 oxygen. Okay, so I'm going to look here, and it says 3 is tri. Okay, so I'm going to put tri, and it's going to be oxide because you have the IDE. Okay, and that's how you do it. Okay, so let's do a couple more examples. We have XeF6. Xe is xenon, and that is right there on the periodic table. So we're going to put xenon, and these don't have to be capitalized. You can just do them just like this. And F is fluorine right here. Okay, so there's 6 of them, so it's going to be hexafluorine. So hexa, but then at the end of it is going to be IDE, right? So hexafluoride. Okay, just like that. Get it back over here where you can see it. Okay, now we have N2O4. So N is for nitrogen, and I have 2 of them, so it's going to be di. So dinitrogen. Okay, and then we have oxygen. We have 4 of them, so it's tetraoxide. Remember, the IDE only goes on the last element, not on the first one. Okay, so you just have IDE on the last part. Now, PCl5, P is phosphorus, and there's only one, so we don't have to have a prefix. Okay, and then you have Cl. Oops, you can't see that. Cl is chlorine, all right, but you have 5 of them, so it's pentachloride. Okay, pentachloride. Okay. All right, let's go over to the next column. Let's do a few more examples. Now, SiBr4 is, let's see, Si is silicone. If I can find it. There it is, silicone right there. All right, so there's only one, so we're not going to put any prefix. Okay, and then Br is bromine, and there's 4 of them. So we're going to look here, and it says tetra. So tetra, okay, and bromide. Okay, so we have our prefix for 4 is tetra, bromine, and then the IDE is the end of the name. Okay, we have chlorine and then fluoride. I'm sorry, fluorine. So we're going to put chlorine because there's only one. And then we have 3 fluorines. So trifluoride. Okay. All right, a couple more. We have chlorine. There's 2 of them. So I'll look down here and find di is for 2. So it's dichlorine. Now it's not dichloride. Be careful because that's the first word, so we don't put chloride on it. Dichlorine. And then oxygen has 7, so it's heptaoxide. Oops. Oxide. Okay. Last one, we have P for phosphorus, and there's 4. So tetraphosphorus. And then you have oxygen, and there's 10 of them. So it's going to be deca, oops, can't see it, deca oxide. DECAOXIDE. Okay. Now there's just one more thing I wanted to show you before I let you go and let you do some problems. There's this thing right here that says mono. Mono is for one, and it's usually omitted. So there's just a couple of times that you're going to want to use it. You normally don't use it on the first word. Like up here it says silicone and chlorine. You're not going to use it on the first word, but you might use it on the second. And the example that I have is you have carbon dioxide, which is CO2, carbon dioxide, and then you have CO, which looks very much like it, and that's carbon monoxide. Okay, so you're usually going to see that with the second word and not with the first. If you're not sure, just go ahead and put it. Don't put it on the first part, but put it on the second word, and it's fine. I'm not going to count it wrong if you put it, but sometimes you do and sometimes you don't have to. Okay, so one more look at that before I take it off the screen. Okay, you can pause if you need to. All right, so here's your homework, and this is on RenWeb. We're going to look at the words. Okay, we're going to take the words and put them on in a formula, and then we're going to take formulas and put them in the words, just like what we just did. Okay, so for these up here, you're going to have to look at the periodic table. Now remember, you're not using this. You're not using the ion chart for covalent compounds. Okay, you just use the periodic table to find the symbols. And because covalent compounds only have nonmetals, they're all going to be over here. Okay, because remember the nonmetals are on the right side. Okay, so let's look at the first one, antimony tribromide. Let's find antimony. It's right here. It's SB, and there's only one. There's no prefix, so we're going to put SB. And then bromide is bromine, so it's BR. And if you look, there's tri, so there's 3 BRs. So you can BR3. And that's it. That's all you have to do on this one. The ones at the bottom are just like the ones we just did. You have phosphorus, there's 4 of them. And your prefix for phosphorus is tetra, okay, because that's 4. So it's tetra phosphorus. And then you have 5 sulfurs. Okay, so 5 is penta. So we'll look penta sulfide, because you got to have that IDE. Okay, so that's the first 2 on your homework. You need to do these and then upload them to Homework Drop, and I'll check off those, and then I'm going to post the answers probably in a day or so you can check them yourself. Okay, send a message through Remind if you have questions. Otherwise, have a good time with covalent bonds. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.